Hello and welcome to AEW Rise to the Top number 15, episode number 15. And let me tell you, we have got all of the fallout from AEW All Out coming for you today. This episode is just going to be Dynamite. Basically, in order to try and get a little bit extra money and maybe boost some popularity a little bit as well, I've set Dark to a separate recording. So that's going to be recorded on Tuesdays. And then Dynamite's going to be on Wednesdays. So it's going to go out live. But that does mean that the episode of Dark that would be out this in-game week was already recorded pre-All Out. So that will be starting. The next episode, we'll go back to having Dark and Dynamite. This is just going to be a purely Dynamite-focused episode. How exciting, isn't it? I know, crazy. So yeah, let's just jump into the fallout from All Out. I'll be with you in 2 seconds. And we are starting off with Jon Moxley heading down to the ring with a microphone. You know, when I came out here and challenged Darby and Max to a triple threat, people called me stupid. People even laughed at me. Well, look who's laughing now. Now, I may not be the smartest son of a bitch in that locker room, but I know how good I am. I know I am a fighting champion, and I knew when I made that challenge that I would walk out of All Out still the AEW World Champion. At that moment, MJF's music starts to fill the arena. Wow, Jon, that is a lovely speech, really beautiful. But what you failed to address is that you were not the best man in that match. You were the luckiest. I was a split second away from having my feet touch the ground and becoming the greatest champion of all time. Also, Jon, how convenient is it that I become the first man to pin you, and then my rightful championship match is a triple threat? And did you pin me, Jon? No, because you know you can't. You know you can't beat me. You're scared of me, Jon, because I'm better than you, and you know it. So a feisty promo to start us off. Obviously at All Out, Jon Moxley defended the AEW World Championship in a triple threat cage match against Darby Allin and MJF climbing down the outside of the cage as the referee hit their hand down for the 3 count, meaning that Jon Moxley almost very nearly lost the championship. This segment got a 74. The Better Than You storyline has started. Nice stuff. Moxley was just great. MJF penalised for low morale. Yeah, okay. That's fine. We're working on that by giving him high-profile feuds and wins, but apparently it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Anyway, let's move on to the first matchup of this evening. And in her AEW debut, Dianna Perazzo loses to Tenille Dashwood with a roaring elbow. I honestly couldn't believe that Dianna Perazzo was still a free agent, so I snapped her up, because once again, we're trying to build up this women's division. Segment got a 36 rating. Tenille Dashwood picking up another win after her big win over cheerleader Melissa at All Out. Perazzo had a 28, Dashwood had a 45, and Dianna Perazzo has debuted her old school heel gimmick, which got an initial rating of awful, which is great. The Women's Championship storyline has advanced, and the Protégé storyline has advanced. And the crowd didn't like seeing either of them, which I still knew would happen, but that's okay. Both of them having poor gimmick, negative crowd reaction, stamina, negative crowd reaction, holding back. Not a great segment, but that's why it's at the start of the show. Try and, get the negatives out of the way early, so the positives can rise up later on. That's cool. I didn't know that gimmicks made that much of a difference. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment. And we have Pac hits the ring in full gear. Someone made a really shit decision. I'm going to find out who it is. I'm going to destroy them. I've got suspects. If you did this, be scared. Death Triangle are coming for you. So the Death Triangle storyline has advanced. I got a 77 rating. Pac furious at whoever it is who hit Rey Fenix with their car pre-All Out, meaning that they couldn't compete in the final of the Trios Championship tournament that they rightfully earned their spot in. Many people think that Death Triangle would have been the favourites going into that match, but it ended up being the Elite taking on Best Friends, and the Elite did pick up the win and are the first ever AEW Trios champion. So Pac, probably rightfully, quite furious. Just not going to let anyone stand in his way. Let's move on to the next segment. And next up, we have Mr. Brodie Lee of the Dark Order, the Exalted One, taking on Austin Gunn, who lost to Shawn Spears for the TNT Championship tour. Why do I keep calling it tournament? It's because I've been saying it so much because of what's been going on in real life. Even though it ended like a month ago at this point. Anyway, Mr. Brodie Lee picked up the victory in 10:27 with a running boot. This got a 65 rating, which is honestly quite a lot higher than I was expecting. Mr. Brodie Lee had a performance of 68. Austin Gunn had a 45. The Dark Order Grove storyline advanced. Mr. Brodie Lee seemed off his game and still got a 68. That's not bad. They have great chemistry, and it showed in their performance, and then some very nice announcing quality things. Let's see what the penalties were for. Inconsistency, trying to go all out, being inexperienced, and inconsistency. Is there a way to combat against inconsistency, or is that just always going to happen? Who knows? Anyway, a nice victory there for Mr. Brodie Lee, and a nice rating for us, a 65. Let's move on to the next segment, where we have Hangman Page walking around backstage looking for Kenny Omega. He spots the rest of the Elite to ask where he is, and they say that they don't think he's here tonight. So Hangman Page got attacked by Kenny Omega after they lost the Tag Team Championships to FTR, and that segment got a 63. The Hangman versus Omega storyline has advanced with this segment, so maybe Kenny's not here this evening. Maybe he's hiding from Hangman Page, who knows. Let's move on to the next segment. And in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, it is Shawn Spears who defeats Matt Cardona in 40 minutes and 1 second with a running Death Valley driver. Matt Cardona making his Dynamite debut. He debuted in a losing effort to Lance Archer at All Out. This segment only got a 54 rating. Matt Cardona had a 51, Shawn Spears had a 49. The TNT Championship storyline advanced. Pretty vocal crowd didn't seem thrilled seeing Matt Cardona. Of course they didn't. I knew that was coming as well. Shawn Spears seemed off his game, but the only way to make those things go away is to just keep using them, and eventually it will go away. Low morale, inconsistency, negative crowd reaction. Not too many negatives there, just not huge stars or anything like that. So let's move on to the next segment of the show, where we have Jon Moxley being interviewed by Kathy Kelly backstage. Kathy says, "John, MJF had some strong words for you earlier. Do you have anything you want to say?" Jon Moxley, "That asshole really thinks I'm scared of him. I'll tell you what, Max. You want a one-on-one title shot? You got it. 3 weeks, Max. Be ready." So there we have Jon Moxley versus MJF one-on-one for the AEW World Championship in 3 weeks' time. How exciting. Only a 59. I think that's Kathy Kelly. She's not got the most popularity or anything like that. She looked lost out there. I need to remember to script her in the future. Oh no, she liked going off script. So what is that all about? Who knows? Poor gimmick. That was the only penalty. Poor gimmick for Kathy Kelly. But that's alright. These things happen. So yeah, 3 weeks' time, Jon Moxley versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman. How exciting for the AEW World Championship. Now, let's move on to the next matchup. And we have Private Party taking on Proud and Powerful. And in a decent match, it is Private Party who pick up the win in 18 minutes and 4 seconds when Cassidy pinned Ortiz with a surprise roll-up. So just about getting the victory there. Mark Quinn had a 62, Isaiah Cassidy had a 60, Ortiz had a 65, and Santana had a 68. Both teams worked well together, the commentary was good. Why only a 60? Why is that inconsistency? Just inconsistency, that really knocked it down that much? Maybe they're not the most popular, but I mean all of those scores are the average of those scores is better than that. I don't know how this game works out the stuff, but still not too bad of a rating, a 60 rating. Private Party and Proud and Powerful going 2-on-2, and let's move on to the next segment, where after the bell, Santana, Ortiz, and Jericho, who was managing them at ringside, pounce on Private Party and attack. Jericho is setting up for the Judas effect on Mark Quinn when Darby Allin's music hits. He runs down the ramp holding a skateboard and uses it to attack the Inner Circle. Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz escape up the ramp while Darby checks on Private Party. So the Inner Circle storyline has started. Jericho came across well. Darby Allin benefited from having a groundswell of public support. They got a 57 rating. What sort of things? Just Darby Allin for low morale again. Trying to work on that by putting him into high-profile feuds and matches, but it's not going too well. So yeah, 57 rating. Not bad. Let's move on to the next matchup. So we had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, taking on Brandi Rhodes. And it was a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. It is the new women's champion, Dr. Britt Baker, who picked up the win in 11 minutes 13 with the lockjaw. Britt Baker had a 50 performance, Brandi Rhodes had a 46. Brandi Rhodes got a lot of static from a vocal crowd who clearly weren't impressed. I guess that means they didn't like seeing her. It's an odd phrasing of that. Segment got a 45. Brandi Rhodes holding back, a negative crowd reaction. I think that's the first time I've used Brandi Rhodes in this series as a wrestler. Not, she's alright, isn't she? I think she's popularity is a bit too high, I think, in this game. But, yeah. Compared to, like, other women, her popularity is, like, the high 50s. Well, I think you got, like, Britt Baker, who's just nowhere near that, even though I've been using her for like 2-3 in-game months at this point. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment of the show. And we have a graphic pops up on screen showing a match for next week. Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz taking on Private Party and Darby Allin. So there we go, a nice matchup for next week. A big 6-man tag match. Segment rating got a 54. Darby Allin benefited from having a groundswell of public support. And yeah, just a nice little quick 1-minute video just to say, hey, this is coming next week. Tune in. Let's move on to the next segment. And in our main event this evening, we have Kenny Omega, who it turns out is here tonight. Strange that Paige couldn't find him earlier, that the Elite covered for him, I guess. Kenny Omega defeats Matt Hardy in 22 minutes and 1 second with a one-winged angel. Segment got 78, which is beautiful. Omega had an 86, Hardy had a 52. The Hangman versus Omega storyline advanced. Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy have great chemistry, which showed in their performance. Lots of nice stuff there. I did this as a storytelling match, holding back, and declining physical ability, which makes sense. He's getting on a bit in years, Matt Hardy. But I think I need to flesh out this roster a little bit. I think I need to make some signings, because especially the women's division, like just trying to find a face woman who we have who is like popular enough to get on Dynamite, but not so popular that like it's, we're losing a big match by having them take on Britt Baker on free TV. Oh, it's terrible. Same with this, like trying to find someone to take on Kenny Omega in his first match who can like take the loss but is also a good enough star that can go in a main event. It was pretty tough. So yeah, I think we'll be looking to make some big signings in the near future. So 78 for the main event. Let's go on to the final segment of the show. And as Omega celebrates, Hangman Page runs down the ramp and rolls into the ring. The two men start to brawl into the crowd. Omega manages to get the upper hand. Omega drags Page to the top of the ramp and then does his signature goodnight bang and throws Page off the stage through a table. So the Hangman vs. Omega storyline has advanced. Omega getting the upper hand again for the second night in a row. Segment got 77, which is really nice. And Hangman Page took a stunt bump which is good. Gets the crowd popping. You know, crowds love them stunty bumps. Everyone loves a stunty bump, don't they? It's better than a normal bump, I guess. Let's finish the show and let's see how we got on with the final rating. I'm going to guess it's going to be like mid-60s. I don't think it was that great a show. Oh, it was actually 70. Nice. And our show increased our popularity in 38 regions. I guess we did have some good promos early on, and then everything was just kind of like consistent until that main event, the ending of the show. That's going to bring people back next week, surely. Like, if you're watching TV and you're watching Dynamite and you kind of sat there, it starts off strong and you're like, oh, hell yeah, this is great. And it kind of lulls in the middle, but then you get that main event, you're like, God damn, I want to see what happens next week. And that's what we go for in this, you know, retention. Retention in both the in-game views and the YouTube views. So I'm pretty happy with that. 70 rating. I feel like that's kind of our level at the moment. Is like sort of like our consistent level is like maybe like 68 to like 72, that kind of region. Maybe 67, maybe 65. But we're consistently getting around 70, which is pretty good. So yeah, let's go back to the home screen. Let's see if we beat NXT this week. Let's check the emails. Let's do all that fun stuff. We'll look at the finances and stuff as well. We're into a new month now, so we'll see how all that goes. I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so here we are back on the home screen. Let's have a look at the news articles. A new team. Oh, Sushi. Very nice. Desi Hit Squad has been disbanded. It served its purpose. Very nice. Cheeseburger is leaving Ring of Honor. I just said about bringing people in. Do I need to bring in Cheeseburger? He's got decent popularity. What are his skills like? He's pretty good. I think he's more of like a comedy thing, isn't he? Yeah, 100% babyface. Plays comedy well. He's only 28 actually. He's still quite young. Maybe that's something we can look for in future. Selena Dorenta is really annoying. She signed an exclusive deal with MLW. I was trying to sign her. Carl the Beast agrees to deal with Noah. So let's see. So we got a 70 and a 2.21 TV rating. NXT got a 71 and only a 2.24 rating. I think that's maybe the closest we've been to them in terms of viewership. Who were the brain damagers? Samuel Shaw. Is that Dexter Loomis now? That looks like Dexter Loomis. He's got the little Loomis mustache. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like it. Austin Theory, Brian Kendrick, Shotzi. I like Shotzi Blackheart a lot. I think she's cool. So very close between us. Let's see Ring of Honor just destroying us again with an 80. How are they getting like 80s but they can't sell out like a 2,000 seat venue? That's insane. Stardom had a 51. B Priestley there getting the victory. And don't want to click on that. And finally, All Japan had a 52. Once again, not too versed on All Japan. I know David Boy Smith Jr. So yeah, let's check out our news articles. There we go. She signed an exclusive deal with MLW. Let's see what Jake Roberts says. Hangman Page is a natural talker. The kid is worth giving promo time to, in my opinion. Thanks, Jake. That is the first piece of advice I think I will actually take from anyone. 4,000 on drug tests and a 2.21 TV rating. So let's go to this one and let's go to the finances. Last month we made just over $500,000 dues, which is pretty good. But we did get 1.2 million of that from pay-per-views, and we're not going to have a pay-per-view for 2 months. I think the next one is in November, Full Gear. I can't remember exactly. But so far, after one show, we're making 12,000, which is pretty good. Let's take a look while we're on here at the contracts. Let's see whose contracts are expiring soon. So we've got John Silver in 24 days, Arn Anderson in 30 days, Lance Archer in 30 days, or 38 days, Jericho in 39 days, Sky in 46 days. A lot of big contracts are coming up soon. So we're going to have to try and do some wheeling and dealing. You know, trying to get them. Should we do John Silver now? I'm not a huge one. We'll get him on an exclusive one. but we're going to pay everyone per show. He's currently on 40, and we'll just do it for 1 year. Travel expenses, you know what, because you're probably never going to make it onto a thing, you can have that far less than I'm worth. Okay, let's try for 50, because I don't really want to pay you. You need to increase the amount. Everyone wants, you know what, let's just not make it exclusive. Let's just make it a written deal. There we go. We don't need to make every deal exclusive. So yeah, there we go. I'll show you the shows as well quickly. Events and TV. So yeah, so we've got AEW Dark now being on TV every Tuesday. Still on the same broadcasting deals, but when those change, we can try and get them on actual TV, because our ratings aren't that bad. Like they've been steadily improving, which you can't really say. Oh no, that's I thought they were going in recents, but it literally says right there, Charlie, best 10 ratings. I'm a fool. Anyway, so yeah, so that's, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And we'll be back with the next episode very soon. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.